Everybody hold up your cooking Post-it note. I'm going to come around and collect the cooking ones first. They do not have to have your names on them. Cooking. I want just your cooking one right now.
I'm sorry, I only got 2.
It's okay. You did not have to put your name on them.
Cooking one, right?
You did not have to put your name on them, but if you did, it's okay. We lost. Annabella, will you collect all of the baking ones for me? And bring them up. Okay, Annabella, listen guys. Hold on, give me that one. That one's cooking. Annabella is going to come around and collect your baking one. So hand her, me your cooking, her your baking. What's the difference? Cooking, 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 Will you stick them to that side of the board that says baking? Thank you, I appreciate it. Here, I'll take care of this.
It's for her cake, it's for like her food stuff.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to read, listen please. I'm going to read off some of the things we said. I'm going to start with the cooking side. So ways that you guys described cooking. We have main dish, boiling, pot, breakfast, lunch, stove, fast, high heat, stove top, soups, entree, grilling, searing, meat, vegetable, fruit, nutrients and vitamins, healthier, meals, harder to do, not desserts, good for you, meats, harder, chicken, meat, frying pan, oven top, steaming, grill, frying, and I think all the rest are repeats. So there's some ways we described cooking. Now we're going to look at the ways you guys described baking. We have sweets, slow, lots of mixing, dessert, pastries, oven, preheat, time-worthy, breading, changing the form of the food substance, makes food more brown, grains and pastries, unhealthy, flour, oven, and I think the rest are repeats. So looking at that, what would be the main differences in cooking and baking that we saw, based on what you said, based on what you know? Okay, so maybe the types of food that it results in. Textures can be different. There's an analogy that a lot of people say that says cooking is like a science. Cooking is an art, baking is a science. Why would cooking be considered an art and baking be considered a science? Cassidy?
What I put kind of do, what I put for baking is like, it changes like forms, like when I think of baking.
Okay, so like,
it's not like the same substance afterwards.
There's a physical or chemical change happening because you change the substance. Good. Andy?
I once heard somebody say, anyone can bake, but few can cook.
Okay, anybody can bake, but few can cook. Is that a Disney reference? A lot of people tend to be better at either cooking or baking. The difference here is cooking is not an exact science. If you are, let's say, cooking a stir fry, can you add extra vegetables and extra peppers and extra spices and it won't make a difference, correct? Yeah. if you're baking a cake and you add extra ingredients and extra spices in different amounts, is it going to turn out? No. Most likely not. That's why they say cooking is like an art, because you can change it and it's not going to change, well, it will change the final product, but the final product will still be edible, still turn out. Baking is like a science because it's more exact. That's why when we bake, we use exact measurements. We have to be more careful about what we're measuring, how we're measuring, things like that. What's some baked goods that we've made in this class so far? What can you guys think of? The blondies we made yesterday are a great example. Cookies, when you guys did your cookie project, and when we did our chocolate chip cookies. What else? We made fudge. That's a form of baking.
Pumpkin bar things.
Pumpkin bars. You were always trying to say same thing. And we made pumpkin muffins as well. What's some cooking that we've done?
The burritos.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken tenders, chicken Alfredo, pizza bites, quesadilla, potato skins.
Wait, when are pizza bites be baking?
Pizza bites were more like cooking because you could have added, it was pre-made like dough. So we didn't actually make the dough. If we would have made the dough, that would have been baking.
The dips.
Right, the dips, the appetizer dips that we did. So we've done a little bit of both, cooking and baking. Today we're going to talk more specifics about baking, what the purpose of all those different ingredients you use in. When some of you guys have had recipe mess ups, I might have asked you, are you sure you measured your flour correctly? Did you use baking soda or baking powder? Because the measuring and which ingredients you use makes a difference. So that's why when you mess up or something goes wrong in your recipe, I ask you those kind of questions because I'm trying to figure out what went wrong. We are going to start with a Kahoot game, so go ahead and take out your phones and I will put the pin number up while I move this stuff off the board.
No, we're not doing it.
All right, take your phones out. You're going to kahoot.it, kahoot.it.
I didn't know what the actual names were called, and then I looked them up and they were on Amazon.
All right, your pin number is 708638. 708638. It'll be on the board in a second.
What did we get about
Kahoot.it.
He's like, wait a second.
Kahoot.it. Put your actual name. You don't have to put first and last, but put your actual name so I know who's who, please. While you're doing that, I'm going to pass out what we're doing afterwards.
I'm going to be Juan.
70.
I already have one.
Hey, which one's me?
Do you have one, Hannah?
No.
Mine's not working.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Who's this?
It's me.
Okay.
I don't want to put my real name.
All right, is anybody else still trying to sign up? Are we all logged up? All right, I'll give you just a second. Just so you all know, this is a kind of a pre-assessment of what we're going to be talking about today in the next couple of days. So if you don't know, which there's a good chance you might not know the exact answer, take your best guess.
Are we still getting candy if we win?
Yes. All right, I'm waiting. Now we're good?
Mitch and Jenna.
All right. There's 24 questions. Quick breads may be made from batters or doughs. True or false? It is true or false. That is true.
Holy, I'm in ninth place. This happened immediately.
Both batters and doughs are mixtures of flour and liquid.
It's not loading.
I always just press up the thing real quick because my thumbs are slow.
You look good.
Yes.
That one is true.
Mine's not working.
If it's not working, you can try exiting out and typing in the game pen again, and it might let you back in. It'll let you back in where we are. All right, thin batters are called blank. Thin batters are also called blank. Pour batters, drop batters, or doughs. Your options there.
I don't know. Oh man, this is all.
Pour batters. It's okay if you don't know the answers. In a dough, the proportion of flour to water is higher or lower than in a batter. Think about that one for a second.
Dang it, I clicked the wrong one.
Oh, wait.
Oh, it's lower than higher.
No, sorry, I'm just figuring it out
Correct answer there is higher. We'll talk about that in a second.
I just went from 2nd to 8th place. I just skated.
To make pancakes, you prepare a pour batter. This is true or false?
Oh, it's false.
A pig fall.
Did it throw you off because false is first?
That is
I'm sorry.
Why would ever do that?
Oh man, that messed me up. That's not very nice.
All right, stiff batters are called blank. Stiff batters are called pour batters, drop batters, or doughs.
Because I was over there saying. Since the other one was more bad.
Still waiting on one first. Whoever's time is worth needs to drop out.
Dang it.
Drop batters is the correct answer there.
I'm still in first place. somehow.
Let's go.
Drop batters get their name because they can be dropped by spoonful onto the cooking surface. True or false? True is first.
I put false because it's too long. Yeah, like if there's a lot of explaining, it's false. But we'll see.
We'll see if that logic is correct.
It's true. Okay, true. That's fine.
It is true. All right, if you were to make muffins, you would prepare a drop batter. True or false? False is first. False or true?
False again.
Pretty sure false is right.
Trigger happy or trigger?
I don't know. I would think so.
Correct answer is true.
I'm in 14th place.
Just have to be in the
All right.
I'm right behind.
Doughs are shaped by hand. Doughs are shaped by hand. True or false? Oh, that was quick. Correct answer is true. Good job. Everybody got that one. What function does flour provide in baking? Hydrates, structure, tenderizes, or color?
Color, probably. Or hydrate.
Structure. Good job. All right, pay close attention on these next ones. Blank blank are ingredients that produce gases in batters and doughs. They produce gases. Berries, salt, leavening agents, or fats.
Oh boy.
I hope everybody gets this one.
I got a round this side.
Oh, there's
Yeah. Leavening agents. I said that because there's two blanks and only one of the answers is two words. All right, which of the following is not a leavening agent? Which is not? Acid, baking soda, baking powder, or steam?
Okay, now I'm just guessing.
That's all right. If you don't know, take your best guess. Correct answer there is acid. Oh, gosh. All right, gluten increases as a batter or dough is manipulated. Manipulated means like the more you mix it or the more you knead it. False or true?
I'm already pretty well.
That is true.
I have 666.
All right. Water, milk, and fruit juices all may be used in baked goods to do what? Provide structure, tenderize, or hydrate.
I did not press that.
Is it based on who gets it first or
Yeah.
who gets it right?
It's
It's
who gets it
both.
right first.
Both.
Both.
Yeah, who gets it right first?
It's as fast as you can get it.
Correct answer there is hydrate. Almost everybody got it. The purpose of of fat in a quick bread is to what? Tenderize, provide gluten, hydrate, or regulate.
I think I guess.
Why are you laughing?
Because it's
Go
not
ahead,
like
that's what you've done. What do you think?
All right, tenderize.
Oh my gosh. You've been in seconds.
Oh.
Eggs do all but the following in the production of a quick bread. So all but. Which one does not belong? Which one do eggs not do? Incorporate air, add color, coagulate, or subdue.
They do add color.
They don't make it yellow.
Subdue is the correct answer. We'll talk about it in a second, Jen. I'll tell you. All right, sugar does all of the following except blank in making a quick bread. So which one does sugar not do? Provide sweetness, tenderize, brown, or inhibit gluten.
So did I. Oh, right?
Correct answer there is inhibit gluten. That would mean like it stops the gluten from doing its job. It doesn't do that.
Oh no.
All right, salt does all of the following except blank when used to make a quick bread. So which one does salt not do? Add flavor, inhibit enzymes, or melt.
Dang it.
Eighth place behind.
Melts. Salt does not melt when you cook it.
Are we playing another
Right.
one?
Gluten is a blank. Gluten is a blank. Carbohydrate, protein, fat, or mineral.
I added fat.
Gluten is a protein. Only one person? Man. Gluten is a protein. It's found in foods that have a lot of carbohydrates like baked goods, but gluten is the protein found in those foods.
Questions are you guys?
There's 4 more. When you make a well in the center of the dry ingredients, which mixing method is being used? The muffin method or the biscuit method? Take a guess if you don't know. We're going to talk about this one in a second. The muffin method. Muffin method. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, until the end.
All right, a high quality muffin has which of the following characteristics? Evenly browned crust, uniform crumbs, symmetrical top, or all of these?
No.
All of these. Somebody jumped the gun.
Yeah, at me.
A high quality biscuit has all of the following except what? A rough looking top, an even shape, a smooth level top, or straight sides? You think you need to change your answer? You can't do that. Rough looking top is the correct answer.
I'm in 12th place. I'm out. I'm in 8th.
All of the following are forms of quick breads except which? Popovers, cream puffs, yeast rolls, or biscuits?
I feel like biscuits are heavier than those, so I don't know. I love popovers. And I don't know what popovers.
Yeast rolls is the correct answer. Quick breads has to do with how it's leavened and how it's mixed and prepared. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeast rolls use yeast. The others do not. All right, last question. Carbon dioxide is released by baking soda and acid, baking powder, yeast, or all of these?
I need a do-over.
You need a do-over? All of these is the correct answer. All right. Jonathan, Sydney, Thomas, Mitch, and Jenna, and Austin, you may come get a piece of candy. Everybody else, put your phones away and take out that note sheet that I gave you or that you picked up on your way in.
Oh, is it just suckers?
You have to split your piece of candy. You guys
You can have another one. I don't like suckers.
You sure?
Yep.
should.
Dang it.
Thank you.
All right, phones away, note sheets out, and a pen or pencil, please. So, if you didn't figure that out by the Kahoot, we're talking about quick breads today. Does anybody know what a quick bread is?
It's a bread made from a batter or a dough.
Okay, not necessarily a bread, but a product made from a batter or dough. It's called a quick bread, but other things can be breads, like biscuits and stuff like that. It is quick in comparison. So when we say quick here, we don't mean like it's done in 5 minutes quick, but in comparison to using yeast to make your dough rise and kneading your dough and stuff like that, it's the quicker method. So a quick bread made from batter or a dough. When you see the word bread there, I don't want you guys to get in your head that it's only like breads like you would eat on a sandwich or breads like banana nut bread. Things like pancakes, muffins, biscuits all fall into this category, okay? It uses leavening agents rather than yeast. Uses leavening agents rather than yeast. It requires minimum handling and should be baked immediately after being formed. Those three reasons right there, the leavening agents, requiring minimum handling, and being baked immediately after being formed, is why those quick breads are quicker than a yeast bread or something you would have to knead over and over and let rise. So they're made more quickly and you can bake them immediately. Is everybody good on that one?
No.
Not yet. Some examples of quick breads are things like coffee cake, muffins, banana bread, scones, crepes, waffles, pancakes. So those of you that made pancakes and waffles for your food demo projects, you were making a quick bread. That's what you were demoing for us. Or if you attempted to make waffles or pancakes.
Hey, Miss White, don't throw shade. Andy.
All right, are we good? All right, there's two categories of quick breads. We have batters and doughs. We're going to start with batters. There's two different kinds of batters. First, we have thin batters, which are also called pour batters. These have a large amount of liquid and a small amount of flour. So they have more liquid than flour. What would be an example of that?
Yeah, Andy.
Okay.
That's 3 blanks.
Andy's pancake batter. No, any pancake batter. Waffles, pancakes, and crepes are examples of those.
Yeah, stupid, you didn't even turn the waffle on.
Waffles, pancakes, and crepes. Why do you guys think those are called pour batters?
Because you pour them.
Right, because you literally can pour them onto the griddle or onto the waffle iron or whatever you're using to cook them.
Your unheated waffle.
All right, the next kind is stiff batters. Stiff batters are also called drop batters. They have a high proportion of flour so that you can drop them from a spoon. High proportion of flour so you can drop them from a spoon. An example of here would be muffins. Some biscuits are also made from a drop batter. Has anybody did anybody in here take life skills? No one? Okay, never mind then. In life skills, you make the copycat Red Lobster biscuits. If you've ever done that or some biscuit like that, those are a drop biscuit. So if you're making a biscuit where you just mix up the batter and then plop it onto your baking pan, instead of rolling it out, that's using a drop batter. Depending on what you did with the Bisquick, it could possibly be. If you let it rise and then roll it out and cut the biscuits, that's something else. But if you just drop them on, then that's drop biscuits. Okay, there's some muffins for you. Quick bread category number 2. So we have batters, then we have doughs.
Look how it screams dough.
Doughs have an even higher proportion of flour. What does having a higher proportion of flour do to that dough?
It makes it thicker.
Makes it thicker, makes it more firm. What else? What about, this was one of the Kahoot questions, gluten in that dough. Is there more gluten formation or less than in a batter? What do you think? Raise your hand for more. Raise your hand for less. Raise your hand if you don't have a clue. A couple people, at least we got everybody to raise their hand. Correct answer, there is more. There's more gluten formation. That's why it's stiffer, and there's more flour in there helping create that. They are stiff enough to shape by hand. An example of this would be a scone. Has anybody ever had a scone before? Yeah. Cassidy, what's the texture of a scone like? What would you describe it like?
I don't know. I think they're almost kind of dry.
Kind of dry they are. They're kind of like a muffin, but they're a lot drier than a muffin. They're more stiff. Usually they're cut into like a little triangle. They serve them at like Starbucks and bakeries like that, Panera. You can also make your own at home, but they're a little bit drier than a muffin. That's a picture of one. They look like that. All right, now we're going to look at leavening agents. Leavening agents are used in quick breads. These are the most common ones. First one is baking soda. Next one, baking powder. Does anyone know the difference in baking soda and baking powder?
The actual
What'd you say?
There's some in it like different.
It's the chemical makeup of it basically. One's an acid and one's a base. So depending on which one you use and what liquid you use with it will depend on how much rise you get in your product, how much carbon dioxide is formed. Some recipes call for both, like the recipe we did yesterday. Did you guys notice yesterday when you put your batter into your pan, it was just a really thin layer at the bottom, and then when you took it out, it had risen up and it filled most of the pan? Did you guys notice that? That was because of that combination of baking soda and baking powder acting as your leavening agent. Next one is leavening gases. Leavening gases can be steam, air, or carbon dioxide. Steam, air, or carbon dioxide. So for example, let's take air. How would you get air into a product to use that as a leavening agent? Whipping. Has anybody ever had angel food cake? Yeah. In angel food cake, you whip the eggs and then you fold them into your batter, and that's what creates the leavening in your angel food cake, is the air from whipping your eggs.
I bet like there's like marshmallow fluff like in the jar. It says like really like whipped marshmallows.
Marshmallow fluff in a jar, that has air incorporated into it, but if you used it in a baking product, it wouldn't add more air to your product. That's just already has the air incorporated into it. All right, questions so far? All right, flip to the back. You're ready for that, right? Yeah? All right, regardless of the type of quick bread you're going to have, they all contain basic ingredients, and each of those ingredients does something for the quick bread. So your basic ingredients are salt, eggs, flour, sugar, leavening agents, liquid, and fat. I want you guys to take just about a minute or so and go ahead and take a guess which one goes where. You have the purposes on your guided notes, so assign each of those to a purpose. Okay, let's go ahead and go over those. So look at your answers that you put. If they're incorrect, go back and change them. If they're correct, just leave them. First one, forms the structure or body of the bread. What did we put? Flour is correct. Flour forms the structure or body of the bread. Number 2, enables quick bread to rise so that it becomes light and porous. Leavening, your leavening agents. That's correct. Number 3, improves the flavor. Salt. Salt is for flavor. Number 4, provides tenderness. I heard a couple different answers. Correct one is fat. Fat provides tenderness. What does tenderness mean?
Like, it's kind of like mushy, but at the same time, it's kind of like firm.
Mushy but what?
It's mushy, but like firm, you know?
Okay, mushy but firm. How I describe tenderness is like when you eat a biscuit, you know how it's like kind of flaky, buttery almost? That's from the fat. That's the tenderness. If you didn't have the fat in there, it would be tough. It would be like a really stiff dough or something that was really tough to eat.
So would like the butter be the fat in the recipe?
Yes, your butter is your fat in your recipe. Alright, next one. Dissolves dry ingredients, adds flavor and browning quality. That is your liquid. Dissolves dry ingredients, adds to flavor and browning quality. What liquids are commonly used?
Milk.
Milk, water possibly.
Oil.
Would oil be considered a liquid or a fat? Liquid would be your fat. It is in liquid form, so you're on the right track, but that's your fat in liquid form. Alright, next one. Contributes color, texture, and nutritive value. Eggs is the correct answer. Eggs contribute to the color, the texture, and the nutritive value. Has anybody ever heard of an egg wash before? No? Does anybody know what an egg wash is?
Yeah, it's like, you eat eggs and then you take like a brush and you put it on top of the dough and it makes it like that golden color.
Right, so if you take an egg and you whip it up, sometimes you'll add water to it depending on what the recipe calls for, brush it across the top of your baked good, your pie crust, your biscuits, whatever it is, and it makes them brown better on the top. Alright, and your last one, contributes sweetness and the golden brown crust. Sugar. Sugar is for sweetness. It also contributes to browning. Alright, did everybody get those written down? Good? Okay, last thing we're going to look at is quick bread preparation. There's 2 methods. You have the muffin method and the biscuit method. So we're going to look at the steps of each and how they kind of contrast. So step 1 of the muffin method is to measure your dry ingredients and make a well. What does it mean when it says make a well? Right, make a little hole in the middle. With your biscuit method, you're going to measure and mix your dry ingredients. So you're going to measure your dry ingredients and just mix them up. Alright, step 2 in your muffin method is to pour in combined liquid ingredients. Pour in combined liquid ingredients. What does it mean when it says combined liquid ingredients?
You've already mixed them up on the side.
Right, Katie, you've already mixed them up on the side. So if you had eggs and milk and water, you would have already mixed that in a separate bowl and you pour them all into your well at the same time. Your second step of your biscuit method is to cut in your fat. If you're cutting in fat, is it going to be liquid form or solid form? Solid form. Good, Harley. Like, give me an example. Butter. Butter, vegetable shortening, things like that. What cooking tool would you use to cut in the fat?
Knife.
You could use 2 knives, but there's a tool specifically made for that. Do we know what it's called? Has anybody ever heard of a pastry blender?
Yeah.
No, it's the tool that has the handle on the end. It has the little like half.
Oh,
Yeah, you have them in the kitchen. It has the little like half circle, almost looks like knives or blades on it. That's a tool made to cut fat into biscuit dough. All right, step 3. In the muffin method, stir until moistened. Stir until moistened. And in the biscuit method, add liquid and stir into a ball. And our last step of each, in the muffin method, you're going to drop it onto the pan. So after you've stirred until moistened, that one's ready to go. And in the biscuit method, you're going to knead it 8 to 10 times. What does it mean to knead it? What do you do when you knead something? Thomas is doing the right motion. He just doesn't have the words to go with it. So you take your dough and you kind of fold it in half and then press it down, and fold it in half again and press it down, and fold it in half again and press it down, and repeat that 8 to 10 times until your biscuits are ready to cut. Okay? Is everybody good on that one? Hold on. All right, for your last part, you're going to tell me which one is correct. Quick bread should be mixed either A, quickly with minimum handling, or B, thoroughly. Raise your hand for A. Raise your hand for B. Correct answer there is A. Remember, with quick breads, we want to do minimum handling. What I want you to write on your hypothesis part of the bottom of your note sheet is your answer to this question. Why do you think this? Why do you think that quick breads should be mixed quickly with minimum handling? So in other words, what would happen if you mix the quick breads too much? Go ahead and write down an answer. Kitchen 1, you guys can go get your blondies from yesterday. Cut them up, make sure you wash your pan when you're finished. Okay?
Tanner, come here. I wasn't here. You're still getting the food, still gotta do the work. Let's go. Wasn't here.
All right, everybody be writing down your hypothesis. What do you think would happen if a quick bread was not mixed quickly with minimum handling?
That's a good one, she said.
All right, everybody have something written down? Go ahead, pick somebody, a neighbor who's next to you, share your answer, compare each other's answers, and then I want you to come up with one answer together. Which one? You can combine your answers, you can pick one or the other. If they're the same, then you're good. All right, tell your neighbor.
I think that you should not use too much of it because it causes extra fluid
Not yet.
and fats in the quick bread. All the quick bread has also quick bread.
I just need to because the because of always doing we got that.
Cooking next week.
Cakes.
Cakes?
Are we going?
No, not pancakes.
This one's quick bread. So I just take like 2 hours.
The first one, there was like 8, I guess.
Okay, let's share some of these. What did you and your partners come up with? Raise your hand. Tell me what you came up with. Katie.
I said that it would like become really flat and it would be brittle and like not very good.
Okay, flat, brittle, dry, not very good. Thomas. Dried out.
I said lose its tenderness.
Lose its tenderness. Possibly what else?
It won't rise.
It won't rise correctly. You said it won't rise correctly. Didn't have anything else besides flat, lose its tenderness, won't rise correctly, dry out. Austin, you're looking at me like you have an answer.
It's because it's fluffy.
Lose its fluffiness, so similar to not rise. All right. All of those things could happen. The correct answer to this is if you mix your quick breads too much, they get tunnels in them. Has anybody ever made muffins or had a muffin that had a bunch of holes in it? Like just like blank little pockets of air? That's what happens when you overmix your quick breads. So muffins, breads, things like that. It does affect the texture, the tenderness, the fluffiness, possibly. But it creates what's called tunnels in your breads. Okay? Go ahead and hold on to those notes, put them away, keep them. We will come back and keep talking about baking tomorrow. Do you have a question? We should do more Kahoot. We only have like a minute left, so. Tomorrow, because it's Friday, we'll see.
Can we cook stir fry one of those?
Stir fry? Well, not during our baking unit, but
Yeah, not now.
maybe at some point.